move on and talk about Leeds United. Now, Pete, to just quickly touch on, there's been some big news actually, hasn't there, about a star winger potentially at the club that could be set to leave again?
Jack Harrison is somebody obviously who has been out on loan at Everton this season, and he has done quite well at Everton when he has played. But again, we don't know what's going to be happening with his future. I don't think Everton would be looking to sign him if they do suffer relegation from the Premier League. That would make a deal more difficult to do. And I think for Leeds, if Leeds do go up, I don't see any real way back from it, Elland Road either. So yeah, he's in a bit of limbo right now. Probably Jack Harrison. I think Daniel Farke would want to keep faith with the players that he's been working with this season if Leeds do finally win promotion back to the Premier League as well, and that would go a long way to keeping their other top stars, the likes of Somerville, Nonto and others. So I think for Leeds United, everything's up in the air because we don't know if they're going to be in the Championship or the Premier League next season. But I think for Jack Harrison, I think probably a permanent exit away from Leeds is the most likely thing for him.
Paul, how do you feel about that? A player that hasn't necessarily thrived this season, that's gone out on loan. Do you think he would make a big difference in this squad? And actually, is there any way that he could potentially sort of revive his career at Elland Road?
I think he left under a bit of a cloud, to be honest, with some of the supporters. I think in the last season that he was there, I think he was one of the better players, if not the player of the year. The way that he played, his contributions, both assists and goals, and I think he was obviously looking for a Premier League move. And I thought it was a good move for him with Sean Dyche. I thought with him. The managerial way that he looks after his players, the way that what he asks for his players. Jack Harrison, he works very, very hard up and down the field, very good with his set plays, good delivery, good assists, and a winger, but can play inside. And I thought he's the type of player that Sean would like. But his form's dropped off and he's not playing. You look at the Everton team on Monday night against Chelsea, Dwight McNeil and Ashley Young played and he was on the bench. And Jack Harrison's found himself on the bench a fair bit recently for Everton. So a permanent move there, if Sean Dyche is still the manager as we expect him to be, doesn't look, financially viable for one, and it doesn't look like the manager would want to continue that anyway. But for Leeds United's point of view as well, we've looked at their books and we've talked about their books as well, the unpaid transfer fees. So it's going to be a case of them cutting the cloth accordingly. And they've got a lot of players out on loan. You look at Christensen, you look at Mark Rocker, you look at Aronson, you look at Jack Harrison. There's a lot of Premier League players there that they've sent out on loan due to the financial reasons in the Championship, and obviously Daniel Farke not wanting these players. But you look at the amount of players that are playing at the top level as well for Leeds United, out on loan in Europe's top leagues, and Jack Harrison's one of them. And they've achieved what they've done this season so far. And if they do get promotion into the Premier League, you look at the players that are out on loan, there's not many, if any of those players come back, one go into the starting 11, or they make the squad, that they would enhance a squad, some of them, not all of them, but actually to go into that starting 11 or the nucleus of 13, 14 players that the managers use this season, they'd be hard pushed to get in. So if Leeds are to go up in the Premier League and they are to recruit again, you recruit better than what you've got. You look for stronger players. You look to improve your squad, improve your starting 11. And like I said, those players out on loan don't do that for me. And Jack Harrison carries a lot of value. And I think he'll be one that Leeds look to cash in on.
Paul, why is it, do you think, that the top three have struggled so much to pick up results? I know you've been very confident Leeds are going to get automatics. How much of a reality now is it becoming that Daniel Farke's side actually could miss out on automatics and actually then have to go through the playoffs, which, of course, is a lottery, as we know?
They've got a massive game on Monday night away at Middlesbrough. Huge game. And then they're away at QPR. And then the last game of the season, they're at home to Southampton, which you're hoping from a Leeds point of view, it's all done and dusted by then. But Southampton have had a real turn in form. They've put themselves back in the mix due to their own form and others' failings. And it all of a sudden seems like, Leicester, there was steaming ahead, weren't they? 17 points ahead in the league. And then all of a sudden, everyone else drew them back in. Then it was Ipswich, then it was Leeds. Nobody seems to want to go up. Nobody seems to want to take this league. We talk quite often about the Championship being the hardest league in the world to get out of. And I've said before on Football Insider, since the Championship was formed in its infancy, there's only ever been 18 teams ever in the whole history of the Championship. 18 teams that have averaged over 2 points a season. This season, there's 4 teams doing it, which shows you how strong it is at the top and how hard it is to get out of this league. I mean, between Ipswich, Leicester, Leeds and Southampton, it really is going to go right down to the final game. And pressure does funny things to you in situations. You look at Leeds from the turn of the year, you look at their form, at Elland Road. 23 games it was, they were unbeaten at Elland Road. And then Blackburn go and beat them there. Blackburn is a team who have struggled. I think they had 1 win in 14 or something like that was the stat before they went to Elland Road. And they go and turn Leeds over. And that's not because of Leeds' lack of quality. It's not because of injuries. You look at the team the manager put out. It's not. You can't put it down to anything else other than coming to the crunch time at the end of the season. Everyone else around you picking up results, dropping points, worried about what everyone else is doing. It's a really interesting part of the season, and pressure plays a huge part in it when you cross that white line.
Squeaky bum time, I think, as somebody once called it. I think that's where we get at this stage of the season. As you said, Paul, pressure mentality is just getting over that line. No matter, you don't have to play well. It's just about getting the results. And as I said, everybody seems to be beating everybody in the championship, which is making it very exciting for the neutral, because you don't know who's going to go up right now. Southampton looked out of it a couple of weeks ago, but now they could be back in it because they've still got to play Leicester and Leeds, so they're going to have a real say on who does go up if it's not themselves. So yeah, exciting climax we're going to have at the end of the season, and that's what we all love football for, really.
Leeds were on an incredible run, weren't they? Then they went to Coventry. They lost 2-1 at Coventry, and all of a sudden that was the one that put the cat amongst the pigeons. Since the Coventry loss, they've won none out of the last 3. They've won 2 of the last 6, losing 2 and drawing 2, which is a record that you wouldn't associate with them with their form at the turn of the season. I'm still confident they can do it. I think they and Leicester have got the strongest squad in the Championship. But, Ipswich and Southampton, they just aren't going away, are they?
And Pete, can you give us an update, please? I mean, Paul briefly mentioned it in there about a PSR FFP update potentially, and a sanction potentially to come as well with that.
Yeah, obviously Leeds' accounts weren't a great reading for Leeds fans when they were announced last week. 33 million losses, and then also, as Paul mentioned earlier, about the 190 million owed in transfer fee to other clubs. That's a real concern for Leeds United. I think it is vital that they get up this season, otherwise they are going to be in real financial problems, I think, obviously with those losses, and then another season of lost revenue from the Premier League, because that's what the Leeds owners and everything else would have been banking on, would have been winning a more immediate promotion back to the Premier League. Daniel Farke was brought in. He's a specialist in winning promotion, as he's done it twice with Norwich, so he was the man entrusted to try and get them there, and obviously he's done a really good job. And as we said a few weeks ago, it was looking like Leeds were almost certainties to get promotion as well. But yeah, those figures don't look good for Leeds. That's a lot of money owed, and if they can't get money from those players that they've loaned out this season, I think that was a big blow to the coffers for Leeds. That obviously last season when they got relegated, those players had clauses in their contract saying they could go out on loan rather than being sold, and that really hurt Leeds financially as well. And a lot of them who've been out on loan probably haven't enhanced their price tags by being out on loan, and that's again going to maybe hurt Leeds in this transfer market this summer as well, because trying to offload those players might not be as easy as people might think as well, because clubs will know that Leeds need the money, and they'll try and maybe lowball them with offers as well. And if Leeds do end up missing out on promotion, inevitably it will lead to player sales, and the likes of Somerville, Nonto, potentially interest in Archie Gray as well. Leeds might find it harder to keep hold of them.
I mean, Pete, if they were to sell the likes of, say, Somerville and Nonto, how much could they potentially raise from those sales? What would be the aim for them in terms of valuation for some of their big stars? Yeah,
well, you've got to be thinking Somerville, who's just been named the EFL Championship Player of the Year. His price tag will be pretty high. I'll be looking around 30 to 40 million probably for somebody like Somerville right now. He's had an outstanding season for Leeds, and there has been interest from Premier League clubs in him in the summer window, in the January window. So I'm sure there will be interest in the Dutchman again come this summer as well. Obviously, Nonto's had interest previously from the Premier League and also from his native Italy as well. So I'm sure there'll be clubs actively monitoring his situation as well. And again, he'd probably be around the 20 to 30 million pound mark as well. So yeah, obviously Leeds don't want to consider selling any players this summer. They hope that they can get over the line, win promotion, and then that will help them keep their best players and then allow them to go out and spend to bring in some players to strengthen the squad, because there is no doubts if they go up, they're going to have to refresh that squad as well and improve it if they're to have any chance of staying up.
You've just watched a segment from Football Insider's brand new podcast, The Inside Track, with me, Lewis Pearce, alongside the guests on the show. Thanks very much for tuning in. Please do give the video a like, comment your thoughts on the topic, and feel free to share on your social media pages. If you want to listen to the full podcast episode, click the link in the description below. Keep your eyes peeled for plenty more content and exclusives here on The Inside Track.